State at Washington State Penitentiary. This call will be recorded and monitored. If you wish to block any future calls of this nature, dial 7 now. To accept this call, press 5 now. To decline this call, thank you.
Good day, good people.
Good day, Mr. Hoffman. It's always good to hear your voice, and I pray that you get out of that hellhole very soon.
Well, right now, it's hell is froze over because my cell is at about 41 degrees, if it's that.
Wow.
It's been that way for the last. Well, this is getting near the completion of the 5th day now, and we're having a little nor'easter as we speak. I'm looking outside from the day room, and the snow is coming down from the northeast at about 15 miles an hour, or a little better. Not thick, but it's trying to build into a storm. Anyway, this is the usual thing that happens this time of year in Walla Walla and all of the other states' institutions in the state of Washington. They use this to try to weed out inmates, to put them in the hole because they've went off because their heating is not adequate. Now, there's a state law that says that my cell and everybody else's cell is supposed to be kept at between 68 and 72 degrees year-round. This has never been the case. There's only been a few days a year that it's like that. The rest of the time, it's either too hot or too cold. In the summertime, it's the same thing. It'll be 103 outside, and it'll be 52 degrees in the cell.
You know, what I hear happens is they send in inspectors from the state or the federal government every now and then, and the warden makes sure that the cells are all the proper temperature, and as soon as the inspectors leave, everything goes back to normal and the temperature goes crazy again.
Well, here they don't even bother to do that because everybody's on the same payroll, and it don't matter. They go back and have a drink or whatever it is they do when they walk away from here, and it's all good.
Wow.
This is listen. There was a Captain Morgan that worked here. He got it fixed so through getting a memorandum from Gary Locke, the governor at the time, while he was captain here, to be able to shoot on sight anyone that was fighting. And because of that memorandum, it wasn't even a law that allowed it. It was only a memorandum from Governor Gary Locke. It cost the life of 5 innocent people. Each time they shot somebody, they didn't shoot the perpetrator, they shot the one that was defending themselves and got themselves embroiled in a great big lawsuit. And instead of Captain Morgan having to do time for something like that, they moved him to Olympia. And he's also responsible for at least 5 other deaths in the hole where guards came in the middle of the night and opened a little chow service door on the regular door and says, "Here, take these, or we'll have somebody come and beat you to death."
Wow. Incredible.
I know this for a fact because they tried it on me, and I told them, "Bring on your goons."
Yeah. I admire your courage. I admire your courage. After all these years, they haven't taken the spirit out of you, and I really admire the fact that you don't compromise. Let me share something with you real quick. I do have the affidavit of John Joe Timotwa. I also have the letter that you wrote on November the 29th to Mr. Allenbaugh, and I am not doing a thing with that except I've got it on my computer, but I am not doing a thing with that until you tell me otherwise. So.
Yeah. Well, I wanted you to be aware of it, mostly because there may come a time when if something happens to me or happens to Agnes or something like that and I have no other contact out there, I want you to be able to send it where it needs to go.
Okay.
Right now, I'm trying to develop a way to incorporate this into a writ of habeas corpus, and the only thing that I can see is that it's possibly a dying declaration, because this man went to a secretary in my trial attorney's office and had this filled up, made a statement, and they typed it out for him to sign, and he never got back to sign it for whatever reasons. I don't know whether or not he was threatened and decided it's best not to do it, or what have you. But it is still a dying declaration, and it shows within the writing that he had the contact that he said he did with these people, and that the tribal police tried to cover this up with everything that they were capable of doing, including holding him in tribal jail while we were going to trial. So Mr. Gary Carden is still working for the tribe, and he's one of the ones that worked so hard within the paperwork structure of police records, police reports and stuff, before they brought us to trial, to make it sound that he was someplace else other than where he was. He was telling in the police report, and he didn't know at the time that the police report that they were doing was being recorded and then transcribed, and it shows blatantly that he was trying to put himself in a different position than he was. Now we have this affidavit, and it is supported by the statement in court of the then Judge Sheila Cleveland, who was asked by the tribal council to press charges against us for murdering this cop. And she said no, they didn't do anything wrong. The first shots came from where the police had positioned themselves, and she was sure that the police didn't acknowledge or let anybody know who they were, because they came on the property without any squad car siren or any lights on the squad cars or anything like that, and they snuck over the back fence.
Is Sheila Cleveland still alive?
Yes.
Okay.
Sheila Cleveland was a council member 2 years ago, and I had Agnes call her to try to get her to fashion another statement, and she says don't call back again. So she's been threatened too.
I see. Yeah, that's a real shame.
Yeah. Anyway, be that as it may, I'm kind of biding my time, because I'm kind of between the devil and the deep blue sea right now.
Yeah.
I have this itch in the back of my neck that says don't put out the writ of habeas corpus yet, because all of the things that are necessary to do it have to be in the writ, and if it goes before the wrong judge, another one that's paid off, it goes nowhere, and you lose that opportunity to have it seen by somebody that's going to do the proper thing, which is free me, because that's all it can do. It can't do anything else. There are too many things that have been done, Brady violations, where not only did they mistakenly not give exculpatory evidence or evidence that was there, but they covered it up and hid it. The thing that I'm looking at mostly right now is that the FBI did not give the answer to the search warrant for the McGinnis property on August 28th, 1986. Mr. Hicks, the federal prosecutor, was also the prosecutor that put my brother in prison for cocaine violation, and was mad at Elmer because Elmer was, with whatever he was able to do got Jim a lesser sentence from 15 years to 5 years, or total with like 28 months or something like that in prison, and then the parole after that. And Mr. Hicks was all irate about that, and when he had this opportunity to convict Elmer, he went so, to the point to where he transferred the trial from federal court, where he couldn't argue with the stuff because it was there in black and white that they found the alleged murder weapon, the 9mm. So they shut it down in federal court and transferred it to state court so that they could cover up that and claim that it was still in federal court. And when we asked federal court, they'd say that it was in state court or it was someplace else. And Mr. Hicks was a special prosecutor for our case, and he should have recused himself because he had harsh feelings towards Elmer because Elmer got his son off with a lighter sentence.
Yeah.
Instead of that, we got the shaft. And my dad died in prison for something that he didn't do. And they keep on keeping my cell closed. I'm liable to do the same thing. So.
Well, I pray that God works a miracle, and 32 years is an unimaginable number. I mean, it rolls off my tongue, but you have actually lived it, and what a number, Patrick. I pray that God gets you out of there very, very soon. This book is, it's amazing that it's came out after all this time, right? 30-something years, and now we have a book about the entire incident. So hopefully that's a sign from God that, there is movement in your case and that he's working a plan to get you out of there.
Well, there are 15 people that have died over this.
Wow.
Mr. Millard, and then there were 2 people that looked to try to get our innocence shown, and they got killed for whatever reasons, through whatever means, and then there were 2 other police officers that are still alive that got ran off the force for looking into our innocence along this, which had to do with Mr. Timantois stating what he stated. The 2 officers are one named Wapato, I think it is, Wapato, which is the son of the chief of the Yakimas in that line, and Mr. Gene Carson, whose son is in here in another part of the facility. And I've seen him once, and he was so glad to see me that he sat through the whole powwow sitting by me and was so glad to be with me. Anyway,
my goodness.
I forgot where I'm at now.
I can't imagine what you've been through, Patrick. I know that our prayers are with you, and it breaks my heart, really, to think about what you've been through. But you do have a lady that loves you, and that's one thing to be grateful for.
Well, I'm at a point to where, with things like this cold snap and doing the things that they did in the cell, it would be different if this was an accident or something. But they had the people come and turn the heat down in these cells. It's not the whole unit. It's only the half of the lower tier. The other half is doing just fine.
Yeah.
How does that work? How does that work? How is that a problem? And how is it that when I make mention of the fact that my cell isn't warm enough, that it's my problem, that I caused it, and officers that I mention this to tell me to shut up, shut my mouth, or they're going to do bad, nasty, dishonorable things to me. And that ain't ever going to happen.
Yeah. I love the fact that you have that fighting spirit and you don't compromise Let me share this with you. A lady prisoner also tells me of very humiliating things that go on in a women's prison and how bad the guards are, and they even have male guards
Yes.
there. And what she said is
Yes.
she overheard one guard tell another, "We have to make them as unpleasant as we have to make their time here as unpleasant as possible." I mean, that's their mentality. Their mentality is not, that they've got a duty to fulfill and they're responsible for everybody's safety and making sure that things are orderly. Their duty, they believe, is to make things unpleasant for the prisoners, which is insanity.
Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, under the law of the state of Washington, the penalty that we're suffering is that we're separated from society. Now, they're supposed to watch over our health and our welfare, and they're supposed to provide us with showers and meals and everything. Other than that, we're just segregated from society. Instead of that, we've got people that have put on the uniform because they can punish prisoners and get away with it, and nobody says anything because we have no legal recourse out there. And when we did have, they snapped it up so that we couldn't anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's been going. We had opportunity to have people stand up for us and move the innocent, and instead of doing them by groups, it was one at a time. And there was a lawsuit here 10, 12 years ago where it would have opened up 3/4 of what prison population there was in the state of Washington, but because legislators couldn't have that because it would ruin the economy, and it would do this and it would do that, they legislated an act where if you didn't file for that adjudication within 6 weeks, you lost out. It didn't matter what your crime was or what your time was or how the state laws that put you there were made so that you could get reimbursement or turnaround from your sentencing. It's crazy how the cowboy law that they got going here is. And if you do right by their cowboy law, they stole the land from my people. And under state law, they're supposed to give whatever is stolen back to whoever it was given to in the first place. Grandfather gave us this land to live on. And under the Native American Religious Freedoms Act, it is sacred land, so they have to return it. Instead of that, they act like we don't exist, even with our reservation. Oh, by the way, they have a reservation, but it's only 1/8 of what it was supposed to be in the original charter. And there would have been more people, but we had to kill them out because they fought back. Women and children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My goodness. Wow.
We had 180,000 people here when the first Wagoneers started coming into this land. My grandfather on Helen Hoffman's side, he was a farrier and blacksmith for Fort Spokane. And he worked there for 22 years at the mouth of the Spokane River at the fort. Then one day, all of a sudden, they decided that they had to move all of the Indians across the river to the west bank of the Columbia River. So he packed everybody up, and he became
You have 60 seconds remaining.
a surveyor of the land so that he could do the plots so that we could have allotments of the land that grandfather gave us. Imagine that. Anyway, when I was enrolled, my number was 21 or 2714. Now I'm 2142. There's been that many people
You have 30 seconds remaining.
that have passed away since I've been enrolled. Anyway, take care of you.
All right.
Love and respects.
Love and respects to you, Patrick. It's good to hear your voice, and I pray that this book and Agnes and everything works together to get you the freedom that you deserve.
We're trying. We're trying.
All
Thank
right.
God.
All right. Blessings to you, Patrick.
Blessings to you, too. Take care of you.
Okay. Bye-bye.